It is Sunday, March 3rd, 2013, and today's random screenshot comes from Isilme Turuphant of the Balmung server. Good morning, Eorzea. Now Celestine here. Today I have an extra special guest. I'd like to welcome Fusion to the show. Fusion, welcome to this morning's show.
Thanks.
I've brought you here today because I know as a member, well, actually the leader of GamerEscape Radio, you personally got to interview Yoshida-san, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Well, this is the third interview that I've had with him. I talked to him back when A Realm Reborn was first announced, back before it was even called A Realm Reborn. It was just Final Fantasy XIV 2.0. Talked to him at last year's E3. And so, we know each other. We walk in, he hands me his business card, and I go, "Oh, you got new business cards?" He goes, "Yeah." So, it's great seeing him. I think he understands that we are a little different from most of the media that he gets up, ends up talking with, because we're a Final Fantasy XIV focused site. Obviously we have 11 and stuff too, but we're there to ask the specific questions, not just kind of the broad, like, so why aren't you using a free to play model? Like every every other media outlet will ask. So we're there because we like the game and because we want to cover it. We're players of the game. We're not just some people covering it. So.
You're more so asking the questions that the players of the games are interested in, not so much just the general public.
Well, right, and because, we're not just, somebody looking at, like, oh, so, like, they're making that 14 thing. I thought that already came out. Didn't it suck? Like, is it free to play yet? We're sitting there, we enjoy the game, we want to know, details about the stuff we're enjoying. We're players, so we ask what the players want to know.
Well, why don't you tell us all a little bit about the experience at the live interviewing and the gathering there, because we saw a few screenshots and a few pictures, but being there's got to be a completely different experience.
The venue was interesting. I saw the community team tweeting pictures as they were setting up. All I kept thinking is, man, I can't wait to go and check that out. And it was really cool the way that they had styled it up. It kind of looked like a building in Gridania. They even had some of the Gridania concept art on the windows, which was really cool. But it was laid out pretty well. It was a fairly small area, but I thought it was decorated pretty cool. So.
Was there anything in particular that stood out? Like, I know the signs there. When I saw those, I was absolutely ecstatic about that. Is there something like that you wanted to take home?
I want the window, really, that they had in the conference room. It was just this giant window, and they just had they had taken the concept art from Gridania, and they just kind of layered it onto that window, so you could still get some light through it, but it was like you're almost looking out into Gridania, which was really cool.
That's actually pretty awesome. Well, regarding the questions that you did ask Yoshida-san, was there any that you didn't include in your interview? Maybe some insider info that fans would want to know?
There were a few questions not in the interview, but that's mostly just because I ran out of time. So hopefully I'll be hearing back. I had to do an email follow-up, so hopefully I have some more information in the next couple weeks. But as far as the interview itself goes, I think probably my favorite question is when I asked him about the possibility of the PS3 holding back the PC or any other future clients. Since as an 11 player, I've heard my share of
PS2 limitations.
Yeah. And, what he had to say about it really kind of made me feel better about the whole PS3 thing. So, I think that if there's anybody that is kind of worried about that, I don't really feel that there is a reason to be as worried about it, as people were thinking beforehand, so.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't actually get a chance to read over the GamerEscape interview, I believe Yoshida-san said that they were developing the Windows client first, and that the PlayStation 3 would be a port of that client?
Yeah, the actual client itself is PC-based, as opposed to 11, which was PS2-based. So when you're working on a game like that, you have to work, if it's PC-based, you're free to, use whatever restrictions you want. Like, it's, okay, well, what if somebody bumped up the memory on their PC? Then we could play with this a little bit. As with, the PS2, it's like, okay, we have this amount of memory, this amount of hard drive space. We have to make it work with this. And they have to do that before they can then take that version and put it on another console. So it's much more restrictive. With 14, they're saying that since it's a PC-based client, they can expand on it a lot more than they could with Final Fantasy XI and the PS2. And they're saying that, maybe even down the road they could even improve the graphics, and because it's all based on PC, they could then potentially, I'm not announcing they're not announcing anything right now, but if they were to improve the graphics, it would be pretty easy to then take that and port it over to a new system, so.
True enough, especially with the release of the PS4, there's been a lot of fans clamoring, don't release it for PS3, release it for PS4, but I don't think they quite realize, or at least what I mean the fans don't quite realize, is that currently there is 0 PlayStation 4s out in the market. 0. The amount of people with a PlayStation 3 in the market, I believe, is somewhere around, at least 3 million?
It's up there. The problem with that is the install base. A lot more people will have PS3s at launch. When PS4 comes out, there'll be a bunch of people that buy it day one. But still, for a while, there's still going to be a lot more PS3 owners. And and like I said before, I wouldn't worry about it. If they want the game to come to PlayStation 4, it'll come to PlayStation 4, and it won't be just a PS3 port of it. It'll be a PS4 version of it, and it'll run better than the PS3 version and everything like that. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, it's nothing to really concern yourself over. Now, going back more to the interview again, I know we keep going back there, but what's Yoshida-san like personality-wise? Because we only know stuff from the developers' posts and a little bit from the letters from the Producers Live, and usually he's kind of stressed out during that, trying to get as much information to us as possible. What's he like in a little bit more relaxed setting?
He's actually really cool. I mean, he's a gamer, just like we are. You can kind of see, in the last live letter. I think one part that really stood out to me was when he was showing off the minions. He was, actually smiling, and he was excited to get this information out. I think back at E3, he actually trolled me a little bit during our interview. He showed us 2.0 running on their. It was off server, so there weren't monsters or NPCs or anything, but just some of the stuff. I'm like, oh, is that like a railroad? He's like, yeah, maybe. And then he turns the camera away, so I can't see it anymore. But he's a really cool guy. That's really awesome, because it's always someone that's passionate about playing games as well that really does a lot of extra work to make it much more fun for the other people that play. Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's shift topic a little bit here. Let's move away from the interview. What's it like leading a community forum for, how many years has it been? At least 7 or 8 since you started Pet Food Alpha?
It depends, yeah. It's It's 6 and some change. It's almost 7, I think. It'll be 7 in June, which is kind of crazy. But it's running the site itself. It's had its fair share of ups and downs. The forums are the same way. Sometimes we'll have a lot of people in there. Sometimes we won't. We ended up shutting down the PFA forums just due to inactivity, and now with the official forums for both 14 and 11 up, a lot of community forums are seeing a decrease in activity now. So,
well, what have you done personally to kind of help bring traffic back to the community forums rather than the Lodestone? Not to say that the Lodestone's a bad thing, because the Lodestone is good for the most part. There's just a lot of clutter on there, but that's usually what comes with any forum.
Well, a lot of the traffic we will see is people coming and talking about the wiki, trying to set up new wiki projects and stuff like that. We've tried doing various segments for our podcast for both Pet Food Alpha and Eighth Rate Radio to try and get some people back in the forums. But the reality of it is, once there's that official forum, a lot of people are just going to go there instead. So we've simplified our forums. We used to have sections for all the jobs and all the stuff, and now it's just kind of easier. It's just general discussion and wiki discussion, and we kind of just left it at that. And now we're just kind of using more comments now on the main page.
Well, you did mention your 2 podcasts there, both the Eighth Rate Radio and the Pet Food Alpha. What's it like working on both of those?
It can be challenging sometimes, especially lately with 11. Just a lot of the hosts just have been kind of losing interest over it. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 7 years. The game has changed dramatically in that time, and people have lives outside of it. PFA and Eighth Rate Radio. That's not everything we do. We have jobs and families and stuff like that. so it's it's definitely taken its toll, but once we get excited about stuff, like there's the new expansion coming out for 11, so we're all kind of getting a little excited about that. We're doing a couple more shows, which is nice to be able to do, because before it's just kind of like, there's little updates, no one's really excited about anything, so we haven't been doing episodes. But with Secrets of Adolin coming, there's new information coming out, there's new jobs, new storylines and stuff, so we're really excited to do that. And then on the other side of that, with Aether Radio, unfortunately, since there is no 14 right now, it's made it quite difficult to try and have a consistent schedule for that show. But hopefully, once the game launches, or rather the NDA lifts, we can jump back on a more consistent schedule.
That sounds like quite the workload there, for sure. Like you said, it's been almost 7 years now, so what could you go back and tell yourself 7 years ago when you started Pet Food Alpha that you know now?
Oh, jeez, that's a good question. There's always going to be haters, and don't pay attention to them. Whatever. If you're enjoying what you're doing, keep doing it.
That sounds like really good advice for anybody out there for anything, really. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your personal experiences, both working with the community as well as working with Square?
Another good question. You're catching me off guard here. It's just passion is important. With doing PFA, especially for the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, it's if you're doing a show about a game that you're just not. You're still, interested in it, but maybe you're not as active in it. It shows. And so you really need to have a passion for what you're doing and what you're covering. And if you don't, people will notice. So, just be passionate about what you're doing. And if you enjoy doing it, keep doing it.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much for your time.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that's all we have for today's show. As always, you can leave any positive or negative comments in the box below. You can follow me on Twitter. You can also follow Fusion here on Twitter as well. I'll put his Twitter down in the description. You can like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please feel free to send any comments, topics, suggestions, or screenshots over the YouTube private message or on the official Lodestone topic. This is Nell Celestine and
Fusionx,
bidding you adieu.